I was doing so well. All right, so we're here with AJ at CrossFit Endeavor here in Hilliard, Ohio. I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet lately about fixing a butt wink. It's a term that I can't stand, but essentially that is flexing the lumbar spine or collapsing into a flex position or tilting the pelvis backwards at the bottom of the squat. Obviously that's a very, very bad thing because the more we flex the spine, the more we're loading the discs, the more we're perpetuating bad back injuries, anywhere from tightness in the back that's hard to warm up all the way to shooting pain down your leg. So having a butt wink at the bottom of the squat is obviously not good, but we want to basically show you guys a stretch that can fix this. So we're going to have AJ squat first. He's actually really good at squatting, but he's going to pretend for us that he doesn't know how to squat. So as he drops down here, you're going to see his pelvis is going to now round over right there, and he's flexed the lumbar spine and posteriorly tilted the pelvis. Go ahead and come back up. Let's try one more, see if we can injure a disc here. Rounding the back over, and then go ahead and come back up. Go ahead and rack it there. Now, a lot of people think that this is from tightness in the glutes, which is certainly a component of it, or tightness in the ankles, like limited ankle dorsiflexion. Obviously a component of it. But one area that people are missing is it actually is, most of the time, it's coming from tightness in the adductors. And we have a muscle called the adductor magnus that goes from your butt bone, that ischial tuberosity, all the way down to the inside of your femur here. And at the bottom of the squat, it actually has the greatest mechanical advantage to tilt the pelvis backwards. And on previous videos, we've talked about the extension compression stabilizing strategy. And part of that, in addition to tight hip flexors and a tight back, is actually tight adductor magnus. It turns on. It's one of the reasons why the knees collapse in coming out of a squat with heavy load. It's also one of the big reasons why that pelvis is pulled into that flexed position, the lumbar spine in that flexed position, because the adductors are tight and too active. So we're going to go over one simple stretch that probably is your biggest bang for your buck to fix the butt wink, right? So we're going to have him get down. This is kind of your classic hockey stretch or frog stretch. We're going to have him here with his knees apart. And what he's going to try to do is essentially sit his butt back against his heels. We're going to move pretty slowly with this because stretching this area can be not very pleasant, I guess is a good way to put it. So at the bottom here, we're basically forcing the adductors to open up, stretching that out. The first thing that we can do is we're going to actually have him bring his head back, arch his low back, and bring his belly button towards the floor. We're actually driving lumbar extension and an anterior pelvic tilt, stretching that adductor magnus out. It does not feel very pleasant. Go ahead and come out of that. You can have the athletes go in and out of that extension of that lumbar spine to get more motion there, but that's a great start. If you want to isolate one adductor versus the other, he can walk his hands to one side. This takes a little bit of skill here, but what he's going to do is he's going to drop his left hip towards his left heel, and then he's going to squeeze his right glute and drive that hip forward to force more of a stretch on this side. Okay, you want to come back out? Let's walk this way and do the same stretch. Again, now he's going to take his right hip, drive it down towards that right heel, and squeeze this left glute to get a bigger stretch right here. Okay, go ahead and come back out. You can have the athletes go in and out of that arch. You can even have them now widen the knees out even farther and sit back even more. But what this is doing is it is accessing that adductor magnus to make it open up a little bit. I'm typically going to have them stay more in the sagittal plane here and then do a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, and then back to the middle, and then we'll have them come back out. I'd be very careful on the way out because once you open those up, there's a little bit of a period there where you've got to just let the body kind of reorient itself. If you have an athlete do that stretch and then go back and squat, it's a huge difference in how they feel, in their ability to maintain a neutral position of that lumbar spine when they squat. They can maintain more of an upright posture when they squat, and then they can also avoid going into that lumbar flexed position or that butt wink. So let's have him go back under here on the bar and squat again with his normal technique. He was nice enough to pretend that he's a bad squatter for us. So we'll see him. He's going to brace into his abdomen here, right? He's going to hinge back on his hips, and he's going to be able to squat down, minimizing any butt wink there, any lumbar flexion. Go ahead and come back up. Let's go ahead and just go one more here. Brace, 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 right back up, and come there and rack it. So, and a little bit at the bottom there, something that we can kind of work on, but doing that adductor stretch is probably the fastest way to improve this, and I wanted to get this on video so that people can start using that stretch, because it's not just glutes, it's not just calf tightness. So add that into the programming and watch how big of a difference it is. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, follow us on Facebook, whatever you want, but check it out. Thanks, buddy.